Good morning, all of you. This is me, Adnan Ghori, the founder and director of iWorkstation. I welcome you all for the iWorkstation BIM series. So today, along with me is Sayyid Mohammad Nadeem, who is a BIM manager. He has worked in India and in Middle East for quite a long time, almost more than 10 years. He has worked with Al Nabuda, Mercury, Art Design Build, and other companies in India as well. Currently is helping the different companies to adopt BIM workflow and the implementation in their companies. So I would like to welcome Mohammad Nadeem. Yes, Nadeem.
Hi guys, good morning. How are you all? So today's session mostly it will be on major three topics. Okay, first your career growth in Beam. Okay, what will be your step-by-step career growth in Beam? Okay, in Beam industry. And second, it will be on the subcontractor working process. Okay, once the company wins the process, wins the project, what will be your stand and where, how, and how it will proceed. Okay, so Adnan, can you just I can share the screen also, right?
Yes, absolutely. You can share your screen.
Yeah. Okay. So first we'll go through the career growth process of the resources. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, if you can see in my screen the resources, the career growth you can see here. First, initially you'll start with your as an BIM modelers in your career to understand the software basically. Okay, then you'll develop you after understanding the modeling process, after understanding the software, you'll just jump down to the senior BIM modeler position where you take responsibility of a service where you understand the service. Okay, like for example, you have a mechanical services with you, you have an architectural, you have an structural services. Okay, all these discipline you understand what exactly is the requirement of the services. There you become as a senior BIM modeler. Okay, then after understanding that, you know how to model it, what are the standards of it, then you go down to BIM coordinator position. In BIM coordinator position, generally what happens is you know how to run the services, how to get those services installed on site, what is the best practice which you can, what is the best routing for the services to be implemented on site, to be installed on site. Okay, this then you come down to a senior BIM position where BIM coordinators position where you understand on site as well as the technical terms and conditions of the project. Okay, then it comes down to the BIM engineer position with technically, like after your material submittals and all these things you get into it, you understand what is the airflows, what are the requirements of the project and how it is going to use while installing. Okay, then you come down to the BIM say lead position where you have to take care of your resources under you, like all the BIM engineers, BIM coordinators, and BIM modelers. Then you come down to your BIM manager position where you have your production as well, like production cost. Okay, and what will be the cost of the projects, like quoting the projects. So this will be your, what I can say is this will be your career growth in the BIM industry. You have to go step by step. Okay, you have to understand, you have to get experience in all these levels. It is not like okay, you have started with you have done your engineering, then directly you're going to do as an BIM modeler and take down a BIM lead position. It does not works like that. Affects the projects as well as the BIM industry. So what you have to go is you don't need to spend much time on each it depends upon your capabilities. Okay, if you are in BIM modeler and you have you have learned quickly how to model all the services, how to know all the services. It helps you a lot. Okay, you don't have to spend 2 years, 3 years into it. Like that, these step-by-step growth will give you the exact knowledge of the software, and you can be in the field for a long time instead of jumping here and there. You go step by step and complete your career growth. Okay, first you have to understand these flows. Okay, these career growth start with beam modeler, then senior beam modeler, beam coordinator, senior beam coordinator, engineers, lead, and complete your career by end of beam managers and PLs and all that stuff. It does not require 4 or 5 years also, but you have to be very good in grabbing all these details. Okay, then I'll go down to the projects which our companies get to us. Okay, what will be the workflow of the projects? First, when you get the projects, subcontractors, what they have to do is, first you have to do a project setup. Generally, what happens when you get in when you are in subcontractor, already the main contractor will have an project setup. Okay, in that project setup, they'll have all their templates, all their for data transfer process, and all this stuff. These guys, main contractors, will have it. If they don't have, then we have to create a project setup. Okay, then step 2 is beam workflow, like how the data transfers to them, information goes to and fro. Okay, third, the QC, value engineering process, where comes down the coordination and engineering process. Okay, this is the career growth which we have discussed in the first stage. Line by line, each and every step by step, you have each and every process here. Third, you will be an coordinator and project lead, where you will do all the QCs, all the value engineerings. Okay, how to install it on site, how to get installed what you have modeled or what you have coordinated. Then you have fourth, submission process, shop drawing submissions, whatever submissions like BOQs, COQs, all these submissions, how you are going to submit it to the client. What is the best practice for submitting the drawings to the client? Okay, and fifth, on site, what will be the workflow of it? Okay, so this will be the step-by-step process for the subcontractors to adopt to complete a BIM project successfully. Okay, first we'll go for the project setup, project workflow. Project setup, project workflow. Generally, what we used to do is we get all the details from the client. We have to have one document controller at the subcontractor's office, because he will be the person who does this inflow and outflow of documents, who register all the stuff here. Like whatever the drawings we are receiving from client, it should first go to the document controller. Then that should be passed on to the engineers, beam managers. Then it should go to the beam coordinators. Okay, from beam coordinators, it should jump down to the junior beam modelers and junior beam coordinators. Here, what will happen is, when the document controller gets any information from the client, he documents it. Like it might be a drawings log, it might be the IFC drawings which we have received, or shop drawings which we have received. That details, that informations will be passed on to the managers and engineers. That managers and engineers will evaluate the inputs, and they'll forward it to the beam coordinator, explaining them which areas they have to start the work on it. That beam coordinators will pass on those information to the junior beam coordinators and beam modelers to get those things modeled and completed. Like after modeling, they'll do the coordination and they'll start the submission and all that stuff. So outgoing process, that is an incoming process from the client. Whatever information we are receiving, document controller will document it, pass on the information to the beam managers, beam engineers. Then that information will be transferred to the beam coordinator. That information again will be transferred to the modelers and junior coordinators. Outgoing data flow. After completing your modeling or whatever it is, that will be shared to the beam coordinators. Beam coordinators will share it with the beam engineers and beam managers. Once it is done, it will be shared to the document controller to officially submit it to the client. Okay. So what happens is here, once the shop drawings are done, it will be shop drawings or modeling is done or coordination is done. That will be shared to the coordinators. Coordinators will do the beam coordination, do the QC process. Again, second beam QC process will be done by beam engineers and beam managers. Lastly, the document controller will document it, put it into a transmittal and send it for the client for an official submission. Okay. So first of project setup and data workflow is done here. Second will come down to the beam workflow. Okay. How the setup and workflow should be. Once we have received the once we have received the documents, all the drawings, information from the client, what we'll do? We'll take down their templates. If they don't have the templates, if they don't have the BEP, we create the BEP. Okay, we create the templates for the client. Okay, this is the first step. Second, we'll do our modeling, all the modeling, whichever area is required, and all the modeling elements will be required. Okay, modeling is done. Then we'll go modeling. After modeling, first step of QC and value engineering will be done. Here what happens is, once we receive the IFC single line drawing, generally what we do is just model the services according to IFC, but we don't do an value engineering there. So what we have to do is, after developing the initial LOD 300 model, we have to evaluate it with the engineering. Like airflows are there in IFC, it might not match. Okay, with the exact required airflow for the rooms or area, that we have to check it in LOD 300. Okay, then if any discrepancy is in the design, okay, that designs should be raised to the consultant in a form of RFIs. So consultant, what he does, consultants will review his design, okay, with the designers who has mainly designed the project, and he will send us back his reply in the initial stage for the design. Okay, for the design, he'll send it to us. Design queries in the initial LOD 300, we need to sort it out. Once it is done, simultaneously we do our coordination process. Coordination. After modeling all the services, we send our design queries to the consultant. Consultant on the one step, he is reviewing all the design queries. On the other hand, what we have to do is, we have to start coordinating all the services. Coordinating it and see how we are going to install it on site. It is just not removing clashes by doing up and down or something like that. You have to keep in mind and concentrate that this should be installed on site. Okay, and that installation should work on site. The laborers and engineers on site, project managers, should be able to easily install it on site. What we call it as an working model, we say that working coordinated model, which can be installed on site. After completing our clash detections and after giving our best solutions to the client, we send our model to the client for his review. So first, client will review those models which we have sent it to the client. He'll have reviewed those models. Then we'll proceed with our shop drawings. Okay, shop drawings. We'll proceed with our shop drawings. Initial set of shop drawings will be released at 350, LOD 350. In some areas, they call as LOD 400. It is what we consider as initial set of shop drawings, which we release it to the client to get started on site. Like till LOD 350, you'll not have a final material submittals with you guys. Okay, but rest of the piping and rest of the installation on sites, like architectural walls and all this stuff, you can get it installed on site. You does not have to wait for a mechanical equipment or architectural elements to get in, windows, doors, all that stuff, because it takes a lot of time to get it approved. The engineers on site and from the main contractor, they have to finalize their product, and they have to see how it fits into the budget with the pricing stuff. So it takes time, but rest of the basic elements we can install it on site. So for that, we give them an initial set of shop drawings at LOD 350. Okay, that will be our first set of shop drawings, which will be going to the client in a form of shop drawings. Okay, it will be an coordinated shop drawing. Instead of giving them an initial individual shop drawing, we just give them a coordinated shop drawing so that on site they can start their work. After completing that process, what we generally do is queries are raised to the client, RFIs are raised to the client. We have given our initial set of coordinated shop drawings to the client. Okay, then client will send us the material submittals for all the equipments, all the elements which are finally installed on site, the major equipments, we can say that. Generally what we do is, after getting down the material submittals from the client, we recheck the models and we recheck the families which we have created for this project. We update them according to the material submittals which we have. Okay, that will help us. That here we are talking about LOD 400. From 350, now we are ahead of LOD 400. In 400, we implement all our material submittal details, material submitter, manufacturer, COBI data, basic COBI data information, and what we can say, like it will be a final set of shop drawings issued, be ready, final set of models, be ready for the site. We, if there are after this, implementing these changes, like for material submittals and all this stuff, if there is an issue, then again we go back to the consultant. We tell them, client, we tell them, okay, after these are all the issues with us. Okay, we don't have space. We need to lower down this for false ceiling, or we need to rearrange. These minor changes will be there. That minor changes will be implemented. Okay, and final set of shop drawings, which will also be for fabrication, used for fabrication. So here LOD 400 process, we are completing it. We do the class detection, we send the RFIs and all this stuff, and finally we give them a shop drawing which is final with all the elements, like which is final for the site to get it installed and complete the work. Finally, after completing LOD 400, after the site gets installed with all the MEP services which we have done, and architectural elements which we have given them the shop drawings. Once they complete it, we come down to the LOD 500 as-built models. In as-built, generally in BIM, there should not be that many changes. There should not be that many changes, because what happens is, in previous working process, like old days, 2D, when they do it in 2D, there used to be a lot of red line markups used to come back to us to update it for achieving the LOD 400, like as-built drawings. But in BIM, it has reduced to 80%. 80%, there should not be any changes from the model which we have given at LOD 400 and till it get installed LOD 500. There might be 20% of changes which will be on site due to some certain circumstances, like the beam might have been dropped, the area might have some issues. So that 20% should be changes. That's it. So you'll take down the red line markups from the site and update your LOD 400 model according to the as-built markups received from the site. Once it is done, you have your FMOM information process where you give all the COVID data, manufacturing details, FM details to the client, and finally you have submitted your project to the client and you are out of that project. Okay, this is general the workflow which we process. Here the shop drawing process, we have shop drawing process. Generally what we have to do is, okay, hello, yeah, generally what you have to do is, after completing the coordination, after you're completing the coordination, you'll give down to the QC engineers, validate it from the consultant. Okay,
Yes, Naveen.
hello,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So generally what you do is you give three type of files to the consultant. QC by BIM engineer, how you do the QC, BIM coordinators, BIM modelers will do the QC. That you'll have a workshop with the contractor, workshop showing him how you have coordinated all your services, how it is easy for them to install it on site. You'll explain them. You'll have a workshop with the contractor, approved by them. Once it is approved, give them navis and architectural structural models. Class detection is done. After that, what you will do, you will issue for construction your shop drawings, how you proceed your shop drawings. Once it is done, you send it to the consultant. If consultant have any issues or anything, he'll approve it and you will issue it to the site. If he is having any issues or he need anything to be approved, he rejects or he gives an B or C status, which will be again evaluated by the subcontractors. Then again it will go to the BIM coordinators. This process generally follows for the shop drawings. Okay, so here what we have done, we have known about the workflow setups and how to complete the shop drawings on site. Okay, third, I'll come down to our subcontractors project winning process. Generally in GCC, what happens is we have to do it from the scratch. Like, you know, you have to do all the services, or you might have to do only the MEP services, only the architectural services. Here the workflow will be slightly different. Okay, according to the winning of the projects, you have to follow, you have to set up your team. Generally you have to have your document controller with you. In a new company who just want to do and subcontractor for it, you have to have a document controller. You have to have your BIM manager or lead. General requirement for a subcontractor company, you can say that. Okay, you have to have a document controller, BIM manager or BIM lead, okay, BIM coordinators with you and junior BIM modelers with you. This will complete your company's profile. Okay, this will complete completely. You should not miss any of these divisions. If you have a modeler and you don't have a coordinator, it will be a mess again, because coordinator has his own responsibility, modelers will have their own responsibilities, and the same goes with all the divisions. Document controller, if you don't have a proper document controller, the BIM manager can't BIM manager or BIM engineer can't have an you know can't keep a track record of all the documents. So in your organization, subcontractors organization, you definitely should have your document controller, BIM lead, BIM engineer or BIM coordinator, BIM manager. Okay, or you have and you have to have BIM coordinators and junior BIM modelers for every discipline. Whatever disciplines you are coding, if you are coding for a MEP, you need to have an mechanical, electrical and plumbing guys with you. If you are doing an architectural, you need to have architectural design modelers, architectural interior modelers with you. Okay, structural rebar guys with you. All these guys should have, you should have in your organization. And coming down to the projects which we are having from GCC and US-UK process. US-UK process is slightly different. The projects which we get from US, UK, Australia, all these Western countries, you'll not have a complete set of services with you. Generally, what they do is, what they give is, they give as an HVAC services, okay, ventilation services, what they call it as, and you have an hydraulic services, where drainage and water supply services. In US, UK, and Australia process, what happens is they have their perfect IFCs with them. Okay, perfect IFCs in the sense they'll give you each and every markup. Each and every markup you have to update it according to their markups and send it back to them. There is no, like, you have to put on your basic engineering process and send it back to them. You don't have to put more pressure on your minds for these projects. If you raise 2 to 3 RFIs, they'll stop down the project because they evaluate their perfect design. Okay, so for US, UK, Australian projects, you'll get a clean markups from the client. You have to update according to those markups and send it back to the clients. But when it comes down to Middle East and Singapore, these areas, what happens is there's a slightly different, not slightly, it will, I can say as a major difference is that from IFCs, you have to develop a design till you get it installed on site. It will be completely your responsibility to get it installed on site properly. Installed it and get it worked. Definitely, there will have an engineers who will be installing, like engineers, workers, construction managers, and all that stuff. But as a responsible beam contractor, you should give them a proper model and drawings where they just go every morning, check the areas where they are installing it. They get those things installed, come back and start the other work. Okay, this is the major difference between Middle East, Singapore projects and Australian, US, UK projects. So you have to understand, if you are a subcontractor, these two are different things, and whichever, according to the pitching, according to the projects, you will have your production lined up, and you have to get down your resources and do it. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, guys. That was the main 3 points which I have covered.
Absolutely. Nothing. There was a question from one of our participants, Ajit. So Ajit was, I'll unmute him as well at the moment. So his main question was, can you just go on to the third slide?
Okay. Yeah. This one?
Third slide.
Hello.
Slide number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this slide, we extract a deliverable. From a model, we extract certain number of drawings. Okay. So when extract drawings after the LOD 300 stage or after LOD 200 stage, so do we have a specific technical name for these set of drawings, or we call it as shop drawings only?
Sorry, can you just repeat it? Your voice was breaking.
Yeah. After LOD 300 and after LOD 400, we have different set of drawings. So what is there any technical name for this shop drawings, or what do we call it? Meanwhile, Ajit can interact.
Yeah. So generally what happens is, initial LOD 300 model, LOD 350, we give them an coordinated drawings. Okay. What we call as an coordinated shop drawings. We don't give them LOD 300 individual shop drawings. We give them LOD 350 coordinated shop drawings. 350. When it comes down to the 400, what happens is, you'll give them an complete constructible on-site shop drawings. So you have 2 set of shop drawings. One is coordinated shop drawing, and the second set of shop drawing is also coordinated, but it is an LOD 400, which will be having an information of all the equipments. It means that is a final set of shop drawings which we release for site at LOD 400.
Yes, Ajit.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, Ajit.
Hello. Am Am I audible, Nadeem? Yeah. Hi, Nadeem. Nice explanation. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
The doubt which I am having is like, see, as per my understanding, when we are doing LOD 300, we have to receive the drawing from the consultant, which is said to be like a detailed design
Yeah.
drawing, I believe, the design
Yeah.
of drawing.
Yeah.
Right. So then we'll develop the LOD 300, and when we done the coordination, we'll made as a LOD 350.
Yeah.
Then it will be like issue for construction, the drawing which can be released, like say ISC drawing or issue for construction. I'm not sure. I just have a doubt on that. So if when we are releasing the drawing after the LOD 350, the coordinated drawing, when we are releasing the drawing, there will be some specific name, say like issue for construction. If that is the case, if there is any other specific name after LOD 400, after incorporating that MAS, the tools and like the equipment and all, if there is any technical, so the reason why I'm asking is, when we are releasing the drawing, there should be some difference, like in the printout. Okay, we know that it is LOD 350, we know that it's LOD 400 in the beam aspect of view, but when we are giving a printout drawing for the site, what is the differentiate? How they can differentiate it is LOD 350? Yeah.
Yeah. LOD 350 drawings is issued for approval. Okay. It is issued for approval. Here, what we do is we give the consultant a detailed description of how we are coordinated, how we have taken down the technical aspects of engineering. It will go to the consultant as issued for approval. Okay. LOD 400 drawings goes as an issued for construction.
All right. Okay. The stamp will be IUC then. After LOD 400, it will be stamp will be IUC. Okay. Okay.
Issued for construction. Yeah.
Okay. And then the other will be the as built. LOD 500 will be as built. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And I have one more doubt.
Yeah.
So that is clear. So second thing is in this workflow, where we are doing this like the support management, support installation and the support coordination. Yeah, support coordination. Is it in LOD 350 or in LOD 400?
Generally, we have to consider it in LOD 350 only. Okay, because without without support coordination, these drawings, like your coordination is empty. Your coordination does not work. If you can't install the supports, there is no point of just running your service just straight and just keeping it. You have to coordinate your supports at 350 only.
All right. So that means actually when we are getting the scope of LOD 350, we have to keep in mind that we have to give the support and do the coordination as well in the LOD 350 itself.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Adnan. Yep. All right.
Yeah, Adnan. Any other queries?
Absolutely. So any other participants in our today's session, if they have any question, they can raise your hands or type in the chat box. I have a question for you, Nadeem. Like the very first presentation from the client, from the client there is a document controller. We receive a set of drawings. So when we talk about when we receive a set of drawings and some documents, so are we saying that this kind of workflow is from CAD to BIM?
Not exactly, because currently, the whole companies are set like the document controller is required for transmittal. Every company will have have to have a general official record of it. Okay, these official records will be kept by these document controllers. Like when you are sending the inputs to the subcontractor, or from subcontractor you are sending it to the client. Okay, these document controller plays an important role to document it officially.
Understood.
So we require these document controller in the organization to make the project official. It means officially document each and everything. For subcontractors, this document controller will help in submitting the drawings, receiving the inputs, preparing the logs. Okay, and when you have submitted the drawings, like the manpower calculations will be done by this document controller. He'll take down the daily, weekly production hours for the subcontractor. Okay, these all stuff, if you put down it to the BIM managers or BIM lead engineers, it will be an additional burden. They could not concentrate on the project. The more they will be occupied on these submissions and all that stuff. So document controller, he will play a major role in every organization and especially in B.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, Nadeem, thanks a lot for joining. I hope each of our participants have gained a lot of knowledge from him. And if any one of our participants would like to interact with you or would like to seek some guidance, how they can communicate or contact you, Nadeem?
Definitely, Adnan, they can contact you and you can send me the details. Okay.
Okay. So thank you, Nadeem, for
Yeah.
joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining for today's session. It was a pleasure having you, Nadeem, with us today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
See ya.